It's cold. It's cold. All right, let's see. Apparently, we've already got comments and stuff like that. I think, or is this old? I don't know when this is. Audio hotline and Pags. Maybe they were. I don't know. Anyways, let's make sure we are live on YouTube. Can we get a comment showing that we're live on YouTube? Can someone help us out? Discord, Obscure Mics is live. Thanks, dude. The guys at Discord are just fantastic for setting all this up. Creator connection. The title is even right. I assume we're good. I'll go ahead and click on it just in case. So if the opening of this show is not what you were hoping for, I'm sorry. Pags, is that you? Are you commenting there saying this is new? Yeah, it looks like we're actually on there. So, all right. Anyways, after all that, you're live, he says. Fuck it, we'll do it live. Hold on. Go away, Bark on the cell phone. What the? Come on. Really? It's just going to keep playing? All right. Anyways, so if you come here for the debauchery, stick around. I like to cuss when it's live. I don't drop too much on the pre-recorded stuff, but me and Bauer are going to get a little bit wild. Probably a lie. I don't think Bauer gets too awfully wild, but I've got a guy with me today that there's going to be some past tense talk on this one, because this is an important episode. I've got Michael Bauer from the Dynasty Rewind, which is a fantasy football podcast YouTube channel that just cleared 10K, which is fantastic. And also a friend, not just a simple creator connection, a friend of what now, Bauer? Is it 5 years or 6?
It's about 5 years. Yeah.
I knew it was something like that. And cool. I will let Bauer talk plenty, but a quick rundown. I feel like, as far as the name of this show goes, the creator connection. Hi, Mike. Hi, Pags. Hi, Bronson. This is one of those creator connections that's just true in every sense of the title, because Bauer was the first person I ever met from me doing anything related to creating content. Had you been on a podcast before you were on the Back Row Fantasy Show with us?
I had just started doing my podcast, and so you were my first ever guest appearance, I believe.
And you were ours, as far as in person goes. Dan Cummins was our first ever guest appearance of Time Suck podcast fame. But yeah, me and Bauer, there's a lot of intertwined creator connection there, because, again, he came all the way from Pennsylvania when me and two buddies of mine started a fantasy football podcast, the Back Row Fantasy Show, that did pretty well. We didn't know how well until Michael Bauer reached out to us and said, basically roundabout, I'm a fan of the podcast. I'm coming to Ohio. Want to hang out? And the answer was, what? Somebody wants to hang out with us based off a podcast that we do from Podunk, Southern Ohio? Yes, we would like to hang out. And I think we had already talked some before you wouldn't have came, on first contact. But yeah, that's where this all started. And turns out I got burnt out on fantasy football and didn't really... I'm just going to say it because I've said it before. I'm glad I got burned out, because I would have hated if I would have had the smarts that you did and the way that you're running your channel. We did not capitalize on YouTube the way we should have tried to capitalize on YouTube. And I think it was not only a lesson learned, but it was also really cool to then see someone capitalize on it correctly. And I'm talking about you, Bauer. We just went live on YouTube. I never once thought or considered about using the format that you do, which I'll let you talk about, but enough bark. Michael Bauer's here. We're buddies. He lives in Pennsylvania. He's a great dude. Take it away, Bauer. What's up?
Specifically Eastern Pennsylvania. So that was a 1,000-mile round trip that I made to Southern Ohio and back. By the way, if you've never been to Southern Ohio, lovely. Are
you being serious?
Yeah, it was very nice out there.
All right.
I had no.
All right.
I got to say, I love doing the podcast. The audio podcast is my my favorite. I don't actually like being on YouTube. I don't like being on camera. If it was up to me, you would only hear my voice and never see my face. I've always been told I have the face for radio, which is fine. Um, but honestly, I didn't start to capitalize on YouTube because I used to do the same thing you did. I just streamed it, and then I would get mad, like, why is nobody watching this?
Yeah,
Um,
and nobody
it
does.
it took until we had our guy Bob come in, and he was the one that really kickstarted um, YouTube with SEO and stuff like that. So really, hats off to him, props to him. And then I took what he taught me about YouTube, and then I figured out a way to apply it to the SEO algorithm for the podcast, which is doing a lot better now. So it's just one of those things. But the podcast SEO and the YouTube SEO are just two completely different things. I see my boy Kevin and Bronson are in here. Bronson, by the way, here it is. I haven't started up yet, really, but I will be doing the initial startup tomorrow night. Today was my little girl's birthday, so I spent a lot of time with her.
Also, the camera's new to you. You haven't even flicked it on.
I charged the battery, and that's it. I did turn it on and off real quick just to make sure it started up before, if in case I had to take it back or anything like that if there was a problem.
Cameras,
Uh,
my mortal enemies.
I'm getting there with cameras. So the cool thing about, and here's the thing too. I think part of the problem with podcasting and YouTube in general is everybody wants to make money. Of course, everybody wants to make money. My whole goal with making money for the podcast was to have the podcast be self-sufficient, where I didn't have to put any of my money into it to make it sustain itself. So, for example, I use the podcast to buy this $36 microphone, the Fifine K669D. Thank you, Jeremy Barker, and thank you to Bronson for telling me about this. And I use the podcast to buy me a Tascam Mixcast 4 because we do like to have some sound effects, some sound drops. For example, if you listen to the podcast, Nate likes to say things like this.
Takes every single inch of it.
Say something like,
Yeah.
I cut it up. I do that.
That's hot.
And this is from a guy named, this was Big Mike at a tailgate in Landover, Maryland.
What are you kidding me?
This dude was so completely drunk. He brought a handle of vodka and grape soda and was drinking that on the bus on the ride down. So, stuff like that. I just wanted the podcast to be self-sustaining. The camera I did pay for myself, though, because I'm probably not going to use that on the podcast. Maybe I will. I don't know. But I actually got to credit Bark because the first time I heard the Back Row Fantasy Show, still my favorite podcast of all time, throwing it out there. I was like,
I do miss it sometimes for sure.
And I miss you guys being on the podcast for sure. I was like, there was something about you guys, just your chemistry. You just seemed like guys that you seemed like guys that you could run into anywhere in the country and would just be cool guys to talk to. Kind of like, just your everyday guy. And you didn't have an ego about you. And I joined a league.
Whoa. 2 out of 3. Can we say 2 out of 3 didn't have an ego about you?
The bald guy definitely had an ego about him.
Fuck yeah, he did.
And I joined the league. You were in it. I reached out to you. I listened to your podcast, and it was friendship from there. But honestly, Bark, thank you so much for all the recommendations you've made to me throughout the years. Audio equipment, not so much camera equipment because you don't like cameras. I know that.
No. And just for those watching, like Bauer he is one of us. He is an obscure mics and a audio hotline and a podcastage and just fans of all of it. He enjoys the audio gear aspect. It's not simply fantasy football for Bauer. Like that's his bread and butter, but he loves this shit as well.
I don't consume fantasy football content actually because I do a podcast about it and I do several videos a week. And I feel like listening to that would cloud my judgment when I do stuff like that.
Agreed.
But
and that's I've told you the same basically before. Like when you're doing it yourself, why do you want someone else's takes or opinions or strategies? Like you don't.
I don't know. And so I love hearing about new microphones. I love hearing about even new microphone stands, new cables, because not only do I like you guys and I consider you friends, but how can I take the information you're giving me to help grow my brand and not spend a ton of money, which is important too, which is like I was using an SE DCM3, I think it is.
Yes,
which
that is it.
I sound better on this $36 Fifine than I do on that SE, and I sound better on this than I do on a Zoom ZDM1.
Yeah, and
And
the ZDM1 you sounded good on, and
I
the same with the SE, but the SE lacked a little bottom, and that 669's got a little touch of bottom that the SE does not.
It does. I see Audio Hotline. Mormon Bishop baptizes the night. This is great. That was a great episode of Obscure Hotline, by the way.
Hey,
Listen,
you'll be excited. I think there's 3 more in the bank.
oh my God, this is
We're
great.
sitting on 3 right now. We recorded one yesterday, and I was like, okay. I was like, Audio Hotline, me and Bronson tonight. Maybe Bauer's up for tomorrow. Maybe I can do a couple back-to-back streamer nights. But yeah, we got 3 in the tank, I believe. So it's exciting times at Obscure Hotline. That's what it's called. Fuck yeah.
Everybody here better be listening to that podcast, man.
They don't. There's like 110 subscribers. The Obscure Mike people are just like, fuck that guy's podcast. We don't listen to those.
How many podcasts do you do?
Honestly, I am. I'm a recycling bin of podcasts. I jump in and I bail, and I don't mean to bail, but oh God, do I honestly? Just me and Bronson's. I kind of started the Back Row Fantasy Show in a different path and changed the artwork and changed the name, and I still have plans to follow through and do it. It's called What Happened This Week, and it's just me ranting about anything that's in the news or anything personal that happened during the week. But I'm already sporadic with that. It's been 3 or 4 weeks since I did an episode. Stuck in My Generation has stalled. Me and Pags were doing it for a minute, but it's just hard to find time.
I get it.
And when I do have the time, I prefer to do one with someone else rather than doing it alone. So I have 3 or 4 that I do alone sometimes, but I prioritize me and Bronson's over everything now. That's kind of like the new Back Row Fantasy Show for me, is me and him doing Obscure Hotline.
I could tell you why it is. I figured that out. Because you say to yourself, I could do this podcast, this solo podcast, and I can do it whenever I want. And then
Yes.
you don't, because you can. But when you do it with somebody else, it keeps you accountable. I know the Dynasty Rewind every Tuesday night at 8 o'clock. I'm up here. I got all the rooms set up on StreamYard, and I'm ready to go right now we're doing 3 pod segments a week. So we release Wednesday, Friday, Monday, and then we have a Patreon podcast. So I'm recording anywhere for 2 to 2.5 hours on a Tuesday night. And then some mixing. I mix 1 podcast episode, and then the other 2, I don't mix or edit the Patreon one. That's just, here you go, paid subscribers, have at it. Then the other 2, I do the next night because I do have to go to bed at some point. So
At some point.
Yeah.
You nailed it, though, too. When it comes to me holding myself accountable, fucking terrible. Absolutely terrible.
I'm the same way. I got a wall down there that needs to be spackled, and I'll get it to it.
I'm looking up at my new needs reviewed shelf that I installed, and it is daunting. And I am just, it's gotten to that point where I'm like, I do love making videos, but I'm looking at all the shit that needs done. I'm like, oh, fuck that, I'll do it later. And that becomes the everyday, fuck that, I'll do it later. Fuck that, I'll do it later. And then
I find that what I need is to send my wife and daughter away for a weekend, and I could just sit up here in my office for 48 consecutive hours. And right now, my favorite time of the year, we're doing scouting reports for rookies, and I love it, right? So I watch these guys, and I write everything down that I like and don't like about them. But then I have to fill out the scouting report, which takes about 20 minutes to a half an hour to fill it out for the 160 players that we have to scout for this year's draft class.
that's what I don't miss. I
And
don't
I'm
miss
like,
the research. I don't miss the grunt work. Like, fuck, I used to love it at one time, and then it's like, this is work. Like,
we had somebody come after us, and they're like, it was before the season when Kyler Murray was out, and they're like, oh, you guys didn't talk about Clayton Tune at all. And I'm like,
well,
What do
come
you-
on. Who the fuck
Like-
did?
okay, you know who talks about a Devi podcast? Guys that are watching college football all
Right.
the time like we're talking, because we want to talk about these guys, but as a creator, you want to also talk about something that people are going to come and listen to, because you do need to get views and downloads to sustain your brand, essentially. So we try to mix it up a little bit, talk about the big guys. sandwich someone in there. Here's a sleeper, so we could say, "Hey, we told you about that guy."
Yeah.
It's never good enough. Can't make everybody happy.
No, but you can make me happy by doing something.
What's up?
Since you and I are both, audio nerds as well as football nerds, kind of former for me. Today's the first time I've watched football in a good while, and all I did was get pissed that the Lions went for it on 4th and 2, so I walked out and haven't watched any since. Well, the 2 touchdowns after by San Fran, but reach out to another one of our fantasy football buddies, Matthew Bruning. And since he hasn't listened to me the 2 times I've been a pretentious douche about it, tell him to quit using his fucking dynamic microphone like this and fucking stick that thing in his fucking goblet. Every time I watch him live, which I don't very often because I can't stand seeing his Q2U like to the side like this. It's on a stand like this, and he's talking into the side of it. And I'm like, God damn it, Bruning, stop it. And he won't. He won't quit. Why? Why do people talk into the side of an end address mic? It makes no sense.
I don't know. And, people always ask me for audio advice, and I don't really know much more than the average person. I just relay to people what I've learned from you guys. But mic technique is a big one. And people,
The biggest.
My whole thing is I'm tired of hearing people, why don't I sound good? Tell me why I don't sound good. And I'm like, well, let me see your channel. Let's see what you got going on. And then I turn their channel on and they got a Blue Yeti. And I was like, there's your problem.
Yep. Yeah.
Found it.
That's it. And that's not a terrible sounding mic, to be honest. It's not. It's, I'm sure everybody gets sick of hearing this, but it's when you're in just a regular room using that microphone, it's not going to sound good. Especially if you're using a polar pattern not called cardioid. It's not going to sound good. It sounds... I did a thing. I was going to do an Obscure Mics episode about what my favorite podcasts use. And it kind of went down the shitter really quick because I reached out to 3 of my favorite podcasts. 2 out of the 3 are using a Blue Yeti. And
Really?
I was just like, yeah. And one of them sounds fantastic. Like, sounds absolutely great because the woman using the microphone is using it in a closet full of clothes. And it's basically treated. So that microphone sounds fine. I mean, as long as you're not using the biggest piece of crap out there, like it is about technique, and you get a lot of people talking into the end of a Yeti when it's a front address, or side address, I should say. And the other people using the Yeti, they sounded good too, because they know how to use it. And they know that, you can't just get in an echoey room with a Yeti and it work out, because it won't. But yeah, I heard that and I was like, damn it. I don't want to do an episode about this now. I don't want to sit here and talk about how great the Yeti is on 2 of my favorite podcasts. Oh, well.
There's the other flip side too, where people ask you like, hey, I'm starting a podcast. I was thinking about buying a Shure SM7B. And I'm like, don't do that. Why? It's the best. Right. But you're doing a podcast for the first time. You're going to drop $400 and you do 2 episodes and you're wasting all that money.
Bauer gets it.
Yeah.
Bauer gets it. And then that's it. That's,
you can do
you've been in the game for a long time and you're using a $35 mic.
And because it sounds good. I tell people we could get you started interface $150 or less for everything, and that includes a mic stand, and buy a decent cable too. Don't buy crap off Amazon. But it's orange. That's great.
I'm gonna counter that point. I have a Mogami cable that sounds like shit.
Really?
Oh yeah. I had it for like a month, and I haven't taken it apart to try to solder it or anything like that yet. But it's not great. I have a Roland cable that was not cheap. I have 4 of these. 3 out of the 4 are great. One of them already crapped out. What I'm using on the daily is Maono cables, which are just which are just a basic black. See if I can raise this up. If you've bought enough microphones and shit, you will recognize this just basic black non-branded microphone that I have seen come with Maono mics. And I've got 4 or 5 of these that I've been using for years, and not once has it made a noise or crapped out or anything. So I get that like true audiophiles, cables are going to be really, really important. I'm just in my case, they have not been for me. And when I have acquired a good cable, two times I have had issues, whereas I've had no issues with these. Now I know what you're talking about with the Amazon ones, like, oh, it's orange and it's got this big spring on the back. Yeah,
Yeah.
don't. There are some cables that are crap, but some of the cheap cables are actually pretty good.
What Roland cables do you have? I think I was buying the Roland Black
It was
for my
yeah,
guy from
the black, and my black series are fine. But I
I
have a
like
Roland. Yeah, I do too. But I've got a what is this one? This is a Roland Professional, I think. Even has Neutrik connectors and the whole 9 yards, and it has it gets fuzzy, and I'm like,
interesting.
what the hell?
I
Black
think
series don't.
I'm running a Mogami. This is a Mogami Silver. I think I got here. Like Guitar Center sells them. And then for the guys on the pod, I buy Roland Black or I buy Warm Audio because they're around the same price. And I refuse to buy the guys anything expensive because they beat their crap up. Nate, I know, takes good care of his stuff, but the other guys just abuse the crap out of it. So, but then they don't have setups either. Like they have to disassemble and reassemble this all
Yeah,
the time. So, I'm like, you're not really, I mean, you can do that, but you get it. It's just, it's tough. And, I got a lot of equipment out that the Dynasty Rewind owns all over the country. So we got a sheet made up. Um, Everybody's got to sign off what you have. If you leave, you can buy it from me or send it back. I will pay the postage. I'll reimburse for the postage, but you know,
yep.
it's
Pag
tough.
says mono price isn't bad for cables. He's correct there. Who has the most expensive mic in the Dynasty Rewind camp? Because it ain't. It's not you.
It's not me. Yeah, it's Nate. He has the SE with the built-in what is that? The DCM 6, I think it is.
Yeah.
That is the built-in preamp or whatever it is. He wanted that one, and everyone else has either. I bought a big lot of Zoom ZDM 1s when Sweetwater had them on sale for $39.99, and they're a pretty kind of flat across the board, good micro. They're decent. You know what I mean? So I think I bought like 5 or 6 of them, and then I
Yeah.
was like,
Those are good actually. I mean, as far as budget dynamics go, and great podcasting mics, like depending on the voice, the ZDM 1 definitely could potentially sound better for someone than the Five Fine that you're using. Just
and I have a
depends.
couple XM 8500s out there too for some
Nothing
people.
wrong with that either.
The guys that don't pod a lot, they just if they do more behind the scenes stuff and then jump on occasionally, they just get an XM 8500. So
Yeah. And that is like 100% fine. That's me and Bronson when were recording last night. We touched on for about the 100th time just how unimportant the microphone actually is. Unless you are making money and striving for, something more than good. But if you're just striving for good, only the worst of the worst dynamics are going to be not great, but just about any name brand dynamic is going to be fine if you're just doing a podcast or doing a YouTube channel or anything like that. Anything that sounds like you're using something and using it correctly, I think is good enough.
oh, there's my man Gator popping in the chat.
Gator from the show Dave on FX. Yeah. Oh no, different Gator. A different
Uh,
Gator.
no, so Gator is a friend of mine. I actually told him what to buy for his first setup. He got Sweetwater had a package. I think it had the XM 8500 in it with like the Behringer UM2. Or no, it was the little. I think it was the little tiny Behringer interface that has the sliders on it.
Oh
Just
yeah.
this.
Oh
What,
man,
I
what is
can't
that
remember what.
Xenix? I really enjoyed that thing. What was that called?
Yeah, actually,
I
fun
have a
fact:
video.
you sold me one.
Oh yes, I did, and you didn't like it
Yeah.
or use it.
No, here's the thing: Bob, our or he's not our CFO, he's our director of operations. He uses that. I tried to upgrade him to a Motu M2 because he does a lot of recording. And he's like, I don't want this. I don't like it. I want to use the Behringer. I like that one better. And I'm like,
Xenix
Whatever.
302. Xenix
Yeah.
302 USB.
Whatever you want to use, dude, as long as you're
Yeah.
happy with it. And, so it's one of those things where, and people are always like, oh, you guys sound so good. How did you do it? I was like, you need to subscribe to Obscure Mics. This guy's going to help you get started. He'll get you started cheap too. He's not going to.
Sorry.
We just got NSFW.
NSFW. Not really. That could have been anything. I was scratching my inner thigh.
That is,
But yeah,
that is,
and to be fair, watch any channel that talks about this ever at all, including, everybody that's here and podcastage, and it's not a difficult thing to sound, good, decent. I mentioned the Behringer Flow. I've wanted to try that for a while. A little bit older, but I think it's the interface that has 2 pegs on it. You can put a tablet on it for viewing. Something like that? I don't know. No. I see the 49ers are up now by 10, so way to fucking go, Dan Campbell. Way to go.
The Super Bowl that I did not want.
I won't watch it. The only way I was even going to watch it is if the Lions were in it. I don't care now. I don't want to watch a rematch of last year. I don't give 2 shits who wins, but the Lions I would have cared. And it's sad that that's the way that went down. Or well, at least that's the way it's going down.
My daughter is starting to get into football now a little bit because it's something that her and I could do together. So she wants to have a Super Bowl party. By that, I mean just the 3 of us. So, we'll throw out a little spread, and then now I get 2 weeks of hearing about Taylor Swift.
Good subject change. Let's talk about this for a minute. I love Taylor Swift. Doesn't mean I love her music, because I don't love her pop music. I do like her albums, Folklore and whatever one came out, 2 indie albums she released. I actually really, really enjoy them. I am perfectly okay with Taylor Swift getting 25 seconds of airtime in 2-second increments in these playoff games. Doesn't bother me a single bit. Saw a guy the other day, very thankful for it because his daughter now watches football with him and is learning and discovering that she actually likes football, not just for Taylor Swift, but like, I actually like this and didn't know that I would like this. That's the power of influence. And I love that Taylor Swift is at those games, and I love that they give her a few seconds of airtime like they would any other fucking celebrity that's at those games.
This is for Bronson right here. Say hi to Gracie. He loves the kitty cats. So funny thing about that, my daughter would not care if Taylor Swift was there. She cares more if I told her, and I don't know why I've never thought of this, Carrie Underwood sings the intro song to Sunday Night Football.
Right.
That you would care about, because my wife's a Carrie Underwood fan, so they listen to it in the car as loud as humanly possible, regardless of the fact that I'm there driving.
That's for all the times that you put them through Warbringer or municipal waste loud as can be with them in the car.
I would no, I don't. We don't get to listen to, as my daughter calls it, Daddy's scary music.
Daddy's scary music.
So none of that. It's fine. See, look, Bronson even knows the name of the cat.
He does.
Yeah, I don't know. It's fine. I don't know. It's one of those things where it's just okay. I don't mind that she's there and that they pan to her. When there's ESPN headlines on it, and I'm getting ESPN alerts about it. Come on.
That's an ESPN problem. I mean, that's the way that our sports media has evolved. They've evolved into Stephen A. Smith, I don't give a damn. It is about injustice. And it's like, fuck, I come here for sports. I don't come here for something else. That's not on Taylor Swift. That's not on the Chiefs. That is on sports media, which is absolute fucking garbage now.
Yeah.
Trash. I can't stand watching a single media person on ESPN or, I just fuck them all. It has just become the biggest 2024 shit show. It might as well be on TikTok. It's just garbage.
Are you on TikTok? I'm not.
Yeah, Obscure Mics. I don't watch TikTok. And I got nothing against it. It's nothing like that. It's just, that's not for me. Like I don't really watch that stuff, but
So the funny thing is, I guess as technically somebody that's in sports media, the problem is with on Twitter and everything, when you are a guy that doesn't subscribe to the narrative, it's really easy for you to get shunned. And you know how I am. If you say something, I'm going to look into it. And if I agree with it, I'm going to agree with it. If I don't, I don't. And I'm going to tell you why. But I'm not just going to sprout something off. I'll give you an example real quick. And I don't want to bore anybody that's not a sports guy in here. But everyone's saying that the 2024 rookie running back class is bad. It's not bad. There's just no generational talent at that position coming out this year. That means that there's good value. You just have to look at it a different way. So I like to break down narratives and say, hey, everyone's saying this. Here's why you can agree with that to a fault. But for the most part, I think this. And man, people get pissed off about that. I thought Justin Herbert was a better quarterback than Tua.
I did too, and I wanted them to draft Justin Herbert. Now I'm not.
Roasted that.
No big deal now, but
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if Justin Herbert's ever going to win a Super Bowl. Tua might not either.
no, I don't. Chances are neither one of them will. It's going to be the Niners and Chiefs every year for the next decade.
Oh,
But I mean, but when, and I'm sorry to anybody who doesn't enjoy the sports ball as Pags called it. Real quick note on just on what you said. Last year it was an exciting rookie running back class, and
yep.
the excitement was all Bijan, and maybe he ends up being great. But you know what? He wasn't great this year. He was good. He wasn't great. He wasn't better than Devon A-Chain or Jamar Gibbs this year, in my opinion. And that's one of those things with football nuts, man. It's like they're like, oh, the rookie running back, the class sucks. What about Isaiah Pacheco? He wasn't even mentioned in his rookie running back class, and he's a fucking beast. Like, you don't know what you're getting until you get him in camp.
I liked Pacheco. MEI Studio, you said Pags. Is that the MEI Studio that you and Bronson watch? I think I just subbed to your channel on your guys' recommendation. Or
Pags is fantastic. It's good stuff.
In Eastern Pennsylvania, use guys.
Use guys. He's just north of you in New York.
Gator, who's running back one in this class? Find out on February 28th, Gator. I'll be mock drafting with you guys on Fantasy and Frames.
And don't ask me because I don't know a single fucking name.
I hate that, like, when people ask me to be on their pod, and I like doing podcast appearances and hanging out and doing stuff. Like, I got to check my schedule. Oh, look at you, Mr. Big Shot. No, I have a wife that plans my entire life a month ahead of time. I don't know what's going on any given day. I got to look at this calendar to make sure I'm free and not doing something. You know what I mean? And people ask me about Tuesdays all the time, and I'm like, Tuesday's the one day that I cannot give you. That is Dynasty Rewind night. That's my night from my pods. That's, you know what I mean? Oh, can't you reschedule? No. That's not how it works. And you know this. I don't reschedule my pod for you or for anybody. You know what I mean? Like, if you want me to be on, I'm sorry. Unfortunately, you have to make a comment. And I hate to be like, Gator, it's Jonathan Brooks, if you need to know, from Texas. I just told you. There you go. There's your comment. And I hate to be like that, but you got to, when you're a creator and you're doing stuff like that, you got to be assertive. I'm sure you've had people try to get you to bend your schedule constantly that want to collaborate in some regards, right? Or do the people in the mic community get along better? The fantasy football community, and you remember, it's a lot of infighting and it's a lot of petty BS, which I can't.
It's just as bad as Trump versus Biden. I mean, it really is. It's constantly like, you could say something about a unknown player to watch out for, and someone's like, you're just fucking trying to do a hot take and get lucky. Like, it's just constant bullshit, and it's let's call it what it is. When it comes to sports, there's plenty of toxic masculinity to go around. I know I'm saying trigger words, but I mean, seriously, there is just a lot of douchiness in the community. There's a lot of not douchiness in the community. There's a lot of great stuff, great times, great folks. Like, man, there's so many people I met through doing that podcast that, I would never give back for anything. I would never give back those chances to talk to certain folks and meet certain folks for anything. But had a hell of a lot of, ridiculous D-bags in the comments as well.
Yeah, the comments are the ones that kill me. Like, you always have somebody, And then a lot of times when you're prepping for stuff, I might forget something because there's a lot of football information to retain. It's not all up here. Obviously, it's, oh, well, what about blah, blah, blah? I'm like, what do you want from me, dude?
Yeah. Yeah. And then that does get exhausting. What's up, LX130? Um, yeah, it is exhausting. And I'm very fortunate that Obscure Mics is like, dude, I think I get a shitty comment like once every 2 to 3 months. Like, I'm surprised when I get a shitty comment. And that's pretty cool, honestly, because
I
it's
do like when you share those comments with Bronson and I.
yeah, we do have a little group where we do share, comments from our channels or podcasts or whatever. And it's mostly fun. Like, rarely does somebody get under my skin. Every once in a while, somebody can because I am human. But for the most part, it's just like, it's just posting a little screenshot and being like, can you believe the world we live in right now? That this is how people truly think and truly are. And it can be entertaining, I guess.
I will say this: the one thing that I find hard with the microphone YouTube community is who to take recommendations from, because you sound good on every microphone, which is the problem. Whereas I sound closer to Bronson's voice, so unfortunately, I have to
Yeah.
lean Bronson's sound, and it's like Bark's like, I took this microphone capsule and I duct taped it to a TV remote and I plugged it in, and I sound so velvety smooth, you
It does
know.
happen. It does happen sometimes. I think I've just got a nice, low end, non nasally, just kind of like a Michael Clark Duncan light thing going on here. Like, I'm tired, boss. It's it does. I agree. I'm not saying my voice sounds great. It is not easy to decipher what a microphone's giving you across the frequency spectrum on. Whereas someone like, well, I mean, I don't sound like Booth Junkie. He sounds better than me for sure, but
He
I
is a
can't I
great.
can't I can't get a recommendation from that guy unless I just want to take his word for it, which is I'm sure is pretty good, but I still want to hear the shit before, fuck you, Bronson. I need to watch The Shining, and I keep forgetting that I need to watch Shining. Never seen it. He said I just watched Shining, but yeah, you do have a Bronson-ish voice. That's a
No, no,
good
hold on.
comp.
That's great. You've never seen The Shining?
No, I'm when it comes to like anything horror or anything. I grew up such a comedy fan and such a Tarantino guy. I was very tunnel visioned on my movies. It was either too cool for school Tarantino shit or yeah, and yeah, Bronson, you're nasally as fuck. God, it's so annoying.
Me
But
too, buddy.
no, I'm just kidding. But yeah, it was either comedy or lots of indie dialogue is what I grew up on. So no, I never watched The Shining. Was not was
It's
not
just
something I even thought about. But my parents also didn't influence me much on movies, so I didn't have that growing up like my wife did, whose whole family was Stephen King nuts. So they watched
interesting.
any Stephen King adaptation and read every Stephen King book. My family was just like, "Go play, you little fucker," and I was like, "Okay."
Yeah, I mean, I didn't spend a lot of time inside when I was a kid because I wanted to be outside as much as possible. Yeah, but in the wintertime, for those of you who don't live in a colder climate, that's when we do most of our TV and movie watching.
That's the
'Cause-
thing too. I don't watch a lot of movies, and I have seen Shaun of the Dead LX30, so or LX130. So don't I'm not completely sheltered.
You know what I noticed too about the microphone community, and one thing I love, and I love how welcoming you guys are, even though I don't do microphone or interface reviews or anything like that. Everyone that I've reached out to and spoken with, you, um, Bronson, Aiden from Dark Corner, he's a guy that I chat with a little bit as well. All great guys, and you're also welcoming. And the communities that you guys have built, and you have people that watch every video that you make and who hop in your Discord and who sign up for your premium like memberships on YouTube and stuff like that, and all these people. We don't get that in the fantasy community. And we have guys like Gator. Gator is part of our Patreon, and Gator's a guy like I have his phone number. We talk occasionally, um, but we don't get that in the fantasy community. And it's
But
just we do sometimes, but it's most of the time people want, what can you do for me right now, which is help me win my fantasy matchup. They want that quick fix. That's just what it is. So I'm envious of the communities that you guys have built and the friendships that you've made. And while I do have that to some extent, it's not like what you guys do. And I just think that's amazing.
It is, and that's a it's definitely a currency that I value highly is the community. Now, that being said, I would also like to have what you have, which is your 10,000 subscribers translates to more views than subscribers per video. Like after your videos have been out for 3, 5, 7 days, I know it's hit like different but your views are very consistently either at or above subscriber count. And with the niche of microphone stuff, I'm lucky to see a video hit 7,000, which I'm still at like 7,400 or whatever subs. My Zoom R4 videos in the sevens right now, and it's like that's rare. Like typically it's 300 to 500 to maybe 1,000, and then after a few weeks maybe it's 1,000 plus. But you know, even if you don't have that tight knit community thing going on, the views are just fantastic for the sub count for what you guys' channel just absolutely kills it in that aspect.
We try. I don't know what our most watched video is. Now I'm curious.
It's probably a lot. And that's a community, man. I was in that community, and before I decided to do a podcast, I went hard on fantasy football podcasts. I listened to as many as I could to try to figure out which one I liked the most. And it took a while, and I put a lot of time into that shit. God, I used to put so much time into fantasy football, too much time. Like
I still
my
do.
wife was just like, "What are you really doing? Are you on that shit again?" And then at some point, I was like, "What am I fucking doing? What am I doing?" But that was me. I fell out of love with sports, so that's really what happened there. But
Let's see. Our most recent really good video was January 23rd, and that 12,178. So
you said
but
that was your recent or best?
Our most recent really good video. I don't know how to search for our best
I'll do
video
it.
on.
I'll do it for you while you tell the folks at home more about whatever the hell you want.
Yeah, Bark. I do have a question for you though. Because I've been meaning to ask you this, and I keep forgetting to ask. What is on your microphone wish list right now? Like, what's the one thing that you don't have that you really want?
That's out.
Yeah.
And available.
Yeah.
Man. Fuck. I'm at a weird period right now where I don't have a lot on my wish list, period. I kind of want the Audix dynamic that Bronson got from Audix and has been using. It's an end-address dynamic. It's gold and black. Kind of want that one. Can't remember what it's called off the top of my head.
Let's see what's on my B&H wish list.
Audix dynamic broadcast microphone. Tell you what now. The PDX 720.
Okay.
It's $800. There's an Earthworks mic as well. Not one of the ones that anybody's going to think of immediately. It's an end-address condenser because I love me some end-address condensers. What is that one? It's like I want to say it's an SR44. I'm not sure if that's exactly it or not, but Earthworks condenser microphones on sweet water.
Mine is a new computer.
Really? What are you using now?
My laptop.
Is it? I mean, what kind of laptop? What are we talking? Because that's something I'm into as well. I love geeking out over tech specs and all that jazz.
It is silver, and it has stickers on it. And I think it's an HP. It's like it'll be 5 years old this year, and it's just starting to lag a little. Give me a couple issues here and there, so I'm still gonna keep it as like a backup. But I want to get an actual good computer because I want to start doing more video editing and stuff like that. But Bronson tried to give me a tutorial on video editing one night, and this computer just isn't powerful enough to do what I needed to do. Um,
Gotcha.
so that's on my wish list. But as far as audio gear wise, it was this Tascam Mix 4, and I got it now. So I hate to say that I don't really have a wish list, but I'd like to kind of mess around with some condenser mics, because one of the things I don't like, and I think when I get my new computer and I get my new camera set up, my camera angle will be different. But one thing that bothers me, and maybe it's hard to see because I'm wearing darker clothing right now, I don't have the overhead light on. It kind of bothers me that I have the microphone right here. I don't know why it bothers me so much, but it does. So maybe once I get my new camera set up and everything's different, I do want to get some better lighting in here, but this is a very small, very oddly shaped room. And part of the problem is, you guys can see, wearing glasses, I got glare on the glasses, and it's like,
Yeah, that is tough.
I feel like no matter what I do, I can't get my setup sound wise. It sounds great. I love the way my audio sounds. It's the visual that I'm having the problem with.
Yeah. Which,
That's
most people don't care about too much when it's informational, like fantasy football stuff or this or that. And Bronson is correct. The Earthworks SV33, that's been on my wish list for a long time, but that's also, a grand or
yeah.
more.
And Ask Mr.
Don't
Science
need
says,
that bad.
I grabbed the Mixcast 4 when it was on sale. It's a keeper. The only thing I don't like about the Mixcast 4, I had the Zoom PodTrack P8, which was okay. The one thing I don't like is the little patch on the back that you have to remove to get the SD card in and out when you have to do anything with it. This has a little cover that you have to pry off.
Yeah.
Whereas I thought the PodTrack P8 was a little better. It was a door that you could just take your fingernail, flip it down, and then you push the SD card and it pops out. This one's just a little bit more wonky. So I actually leave my door open all the time. But aside from that, the Tascam Mixcast 4 is by far and away a much better unit than that PodTrack P8. It sounds better. I think I like the colors on it better. I know that sounds stupid, but you want to use something that you enjoy.
Yeah. That you want to enjoy looking at. Yeah.
I almost bought the Roadcaster, but I think you talked
You
me
ever
out of
just
that.
get sick of hearing about something and you're like, never again? That's kind of where I'm at with the Roadcaster stuff. I'm just like, man, I
Here's
get so burnt out. And now I don't have people in the studio with me, so I definitely do not need it whatsoever. But God, I get so sick of hearing about the road shit.
here's
So
my
damn
problem.
sick of it.
I can't use that because everybody else uses it. I need to be different.
That's what I'm saying basically, and that's kind of stupid in a way. Like I see it as dumb for me. Like God, oh, it's too popular for me, and it's not necessarily that. It's just like the channel's called Obscure Mics for a reason. It's not called Popular Mics, because I'm just not into that kind of thing. But I loved the Rodecaster Pro. It was perfect. The original one, I popped, and I got a pop filter on. Maybe I went too side, but for a 3-person podcast in studio in person, like that thing was a banger. Like no issues. Never had a single issue with it. Worked great. I understand why people love them. But I'm glad I don't have to use one anymore, and I wouldn't have to use one. I could use anything else with 3 XLR inputs if I was going back to those days. But truth of the matter is, we didn't sound much better on that than I did a Behringer mixer that we started out with on that podcast. I just didn't have the sound pads or the SD card recording, and at one time SD card recording was all I cared about when it came to podcasting, because I like to
Really
cut the computer out. Yeah, I didn't like
interesting.
using a computer, and I didn't have to because I had the guys in the studio with me. So the only reason we ever pulled computers out was to, quick research on fantasy football. We weren't recording to a computer or using it for any reason. So that's where the Rodecaster Pro really shined for us.
Gator's saying, wish I could get my Stream Deck to work with StreamYard. Good luck. Nothing works with StreamYard anymore.
Yeah. I
It,
actually prefer OBS and just using the mouse to toggle through camera shots and everything else. I bought a Stream Deck and I just could not get on board with it. I know it's easier and better, and I guess I like it the hard way.
we are weighing our options, what to do there. Our StreamYard just got hit at the beginning of the month for us with all the extra chairs that's on it was $636.
Jesus.
Yeah.
A
And
year?
a year.
That's not bad. That's not terrible, but that's
It,
$50 a month.
a lot
That's
of
a
people
little
use it.
rough.
A lot of people use it.
Yeah, it's good.
But still, it's like, but then Nate has a problem where his StreamYard craps out, and it's only when he uses StreamYard. It's always everything else he does is fine. And I have a problem where when I use StreamYard, my screen will go black. I can see the light from my laptop camera is still on. Everybody can hear me and see me, and I can hear everybody, but my screen's just black.
Yeah.
And
I
it's
will
only when
say, I'm in the Bronson camp. I am a big fan of Ecamm Live, which is what we're using to do this, which is an Apple only thing, I believe. But
Can you record with this too?
yeah, yeah.
Okay.
I'll actually show you. I'll send you a little picture here. But the setup
See,
and just the way
Andrew's
this works.
here. Hi, Bandrew. I'm a fan of your channel as well. Thank you for all your great advice over the years.
Bandrew, I love you as well. I wish
And
you could join us real quick and we could talk about SLC Punk. I was telling my wife watched it with me, and I told her that you commented and said, "There's a movie on there." Anyways, I'm getting off topic. Bandrew's a lot of fun to talk to.
One of my favorite things that he does is "Hello, Neumann." I'm a big Seinfeld fan.
I don't like that shit. Gets on my nerves, Bandrew. Quit doing that.
I'm a huge Seinfeld fan, so every time
that's why I didn't get it. I don't watch Seinfeld, so I have no idea.
And then he blends the microphone name in with the Seinfeld reference. I love it.
Only good thing Jerry Seinfeld's ever done is B-Movie.
I have not seen B-Movie.
Fucking classic.
My kids,
what's that, Mike Neumann? No, Mike. Hello, Mike Neumann. Mike Newman, actually, but there's a movie on there.
Oh,
but yeah, that's great stuff. Anyways, I'm gonna send you this picture of Ecamm. Ecamm is fantastic. It's not an in-browser thing. It's a program. It has modules. It is nice. You're looking for a laptop, you might as well get you a nice MacBook Air M2 or M3 if they release it. Yeah, this is definitely the best I have used. Was using Riverside for a while. Me and Bronson were having a lot of issues with that, especially monitoring issues. It was completely messed up sometimes. But
you know what's terrible? And I tried it a couple times, and it was audio only, so you couldn't see who you were talking to. And now they have it so that you can see each other. Zencaster. I use that for a secondary podcast I do called What the Fatherhood. And if you think Obscure Mics is not a podcast that comes out very often, ours comes out even less often. But Kevin has 3 kids. I just have 1, but he's a busy man. And we were using Zencaster, and it would just straight up cut off right in the middle of a recording. And it was only on his computer, and his computer is newer than mine. And then it's like, and one thing that Zencaster says is even if you have Wi-Fi drops out, it keeps recording and it records it local. So that
Riverside said that too, and I had plenty of fucked up recordings from that.
We tried Riverside a couple times for a few recordings, not like what we call important recordings, but like for the Patreon stuff. And not say our patrons aren't important, but it doesn't go on our main YouTube channel. And it was okay. But there was just something about it where we felt it lacked overall. And I do think that the perfect remote podcasting platform has yet to be created.
I think it's Ecamm. I mean, I'm fully behind it. I'm a tightwad. I think everybody knows that.
No,
and I'm still a tightwad with this. But Ecamm sent me a Riverside. CPAG says Riverside screwed him bad too, and I think Riverside has a lot of potential. Riverside is if they can get it to work correctly, like 100% of the time, 60% of the time, just like Sex Panther, I think it'll be really good. But it's failed me too many times, and Ecamm Live just has not. I actually dropped $250 maybe on this for a year subscription. I think it was on sale for like 40% off or 30% off, and I have been nothing but ecstatic. Huh? What is it?
It's cheaper than $636. I wanted to show Bandrew something while he's still here. Bandrew, this is the piece of audio gear that got me into audio stuff, and you had on your channel how to get this onto your computer. This
Oh yeah,
is my very first piece of audio recording gear.
that's
Okay, and the
awesome.
cool thing about this is I was in a band that was really just me and a drummer. I played guitar, and I plugged.
I didn't know you played guitar.
I haven't played in a while
Still
because
you play.
when I was in the shop, my hands would hurt so bad from work. The cool thing is I would mic up my amp for my guitar, and then the drummer would just play. And because the drums were so loud, they would bleed through onto the cassette tape. So we had a full demo with drums and guitar. I don't know where it is, but it was pretty cool. So seeing the video that Bronson did, I'm sorry, not Bronson, Bandrew, sorry, too many B's in here. And I got a B in my last name too.
Too many bitches up in here.
So seeing that video and how he got
It was
from
cool.
the cassette onto the computer was really cool. So I need to do a head cleaning on this. That's what she said, because it is very hissy and it's very old and hasn't been stored very well. So, you know, but that was a great video, and I love stuff like that. One of the things we want to do, because we're a very nostalgia oriented podcast with our logo and just how we do things, I'm going to buy a camcorder from the 90s, and during the draft I'm going to record a lot of video with the camcorder, so it's like all old and grainy and has the date on it, and then I'm going to get it uploaded. We might put some stuff out on YouTube, stuff like that. So
Yes, Gator J. It's a program on Apple.
thank you, Bandrew, for doing that awesome video. I will be trying to do that at some point in time once I get this all cleaned up and ready to go. Still works too.
I've got a question for the community, but before I ask that question, my kid found a copy of the Flintstones, which he recently discovered the Flintstones movie with John Goodman, and he found that in a thrift store we were at the other day, and yes, the place where we come from, that's what she said jokes. Yeah, he found that movie and he's like, what? It was on VHS. He's like, what is this? And I was like, well, obviously it's a movie, but he's like, well, how do we watch it? I was like, we would need to buy a VCR. And he's like, I don't understand. So I explained it all to him, and he's like, can we please have a VCR? Can I buy this movie? Can we get a VCR? So it took me a while to find one. I tried to buy one online, and they're like kind of expensive on eBay and stuff like that. What's up, Liberty Dude? Long time no see. But I was in a different thrift store because we love antique shops and just stuff like that to find furniture that matches our aesthetic, or old this or old that. And I found a VHS or a VCR for like $30. That was the cheapest I found one anywhere, and it was a nice one. And I brought it home, and we have watched like 4 or 5 movies on that thing, and like the picture doesn't bother me a bit. It's so endearing and it feels so nice. Like, I'm all about watching VHS tapes again, and luckily my kids are too, which is awesome. So it's been really cool. But my question to the community, I also found at a thrift store an RCA Walkman, basically a cassette player, for like $2. And I bought this thing and I was super pumped, and I got home and I have a Biz Marquee tape I popped in it, and you got to be done with the Biz. I popped in my Biz Marquee tape, and it was just fucked up. It sounds like it's playing real slow, almost like someone playing a Chicago record backwards, like fucking Satan. And does anyone know how I can fix that, or if it can be fixed? Does it need a head cleaning? Is there something wrong with the motor? Is it an easy fix? Is it not? It does not chew up the tape. It just plays it a little too slow, and it sounds super funky. So if anyone has any way for me to remedy that, I was way too excited to find this cassette tape player.
Awesome.
Yeah, I wanted to put in like one of my memories of when I first started getting into music. Unfortunately, this is the memory, but me with my Walkman popping in Warrant's Cherry Pie and just going through the woods and smoking cigs and just having a great time to She's My Cherry Pie. It was one of the best times of my life, and I would like to relive that. I need to go buy Warrant's Cherry Pie. I'll probably hate it now, but I want that cassette player to work.
I mean, the studio is saying it probably needs a belt.
Is that what someone said?
MEI is saying it, yeah.
New belts. Oh, what's up, Joe? Red Cabin Acoustic probably needs a belt. Is that an easy fix? Can I take that apart and replace the belt easily? I'm going to
Probably.
try. I mean, it was $2. I can't screw it up too much.
I mean, you
Con
take
says, I'm leaving them here. Thanks for the caps, Con.
you take apart microphones and you resolder the capsules. Why can't you take apart a Walkman and
That's easier than most people think, though. I mean, that's
you
super
still do
simple.
it and not allowed? I think, and you know what? You paid $2 for it. If you
Yeah.
buy a belt,
Oh, yeah.
screw it up.
It's already broke.
Yeah,
Yeah. I've changed turntable belts, I guess. So, are you a vinyl guy, Bauer? You are. I think we've talked about this.
I am.
I'm not a
I have
snob, but I do enjoy it.
no. I'm not either. Like, I don't care. It doesn't have to be a first pressing or anything like that. It just has to be new to me, and that's all I care
Right.
about.
Yes.
Um,
And
I
I
have
prefer for it
a
to be used and cheap and not $30 because that's stupid.
I have a turntable, a nice turntable my wife got for me probably about 10 years ago at this point. It's a Denon.
Denons are nice.
But right now it is buried behind a Barbie kitchen and a Barbie playhouse in my living room. So when my daughter is no longer of Barbie age, I will get to use my record player again.
Yeah.
And I just keep buying vinyl in the hopes that one day I can use it again.
It's great to have that physical copy though too. Even if you don't, I've got half my record collection is still sealed. Like half my records have never been opened. I just if I find a great deal, like I'm all over it. And I do. We throw records on pretty much every weekend. Like if we're my wife's baking or we're cleaning or whatever, like we throw a record on, and that's just that's how we
Well,
enjoy our weekend. But
part of my I don't know what I want to do yet. Like, a lot of the guys on the podcast, they want to make this be a full-time thing. And I'm like, well, we need to get a lot more subscribers for that. But if that were to ever happen and I do it out of my house, one of the things that I would do is I would have a designated studio space like you do, but it would probably be in my attic. I would take half of the attic, the back half. I would, thanks, Kevin, for that awesome comment about the Eagles playoff run.
and thanks Liberty Dude for letting me know this might not be an easy find. He's probably right. The
You
belt.
could I would probably fix up the back half of the attic and then the front half, just let that still be storage. Get like heating and cooling up there. And then I would just put my record player up there so that I could, be working on something, but still getting to enjoy the things that I have that I don't get to enjoy.
Heating is rough. Well, cooling is too. Because as I'm in a shack, and I have struggled. I have bought so many heaters. This building, it's insulated. It's treated acoustically. I love this. I love this studio, but getting it warm is like most fans are noisy. So it is such a
Well,
headache. Like I don't want that noise in here. And I
the
I
cooling
did
is
find a solution. I'm gonna see if I can get it on camera here. It's even mounted.
someone keeps
Oh shit.
recommending Tech Moan.
Whoa, 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 whoa,
Red
whoa, whoa,
Cabin's,
whoa.
Red Cabin's recommending Tech Moan. I'm gonna go look at his channel right now because if he's fixing stuff like that, that's stuff that I'm into. So I'm gonna sub to his channel right now. He has 1.34 million subscribers, so I guess he knows what he's doing. And he's got one more. Hey, look, he's fixing all this old stuff.
There's my heater. That's how I heat the studio.
Hey, that works, man.
Yeah. Wall mounted, infrared, no fan, no noise.
Does it keep it nice and warm in there?
It's not bad. It's not perfect. Like I'm warm now. It takes a while, but that is a struggle. So be prepared for that. I highly suggest a wall mounted infrared heater with no fan. And for cooling, I got no good recommendation for you there because tough.
There's only one, a splitless mini duct, but they're expensive. But they're
Yeah,
silent.
I
That
don't know
you
what
can
that
do.
is, but
It's the ones that they cut into the wall. You know what I'm talking? Like for older houses that you can't put central air in,
mm-hmm.
they put those in, and they're great. They're quiet. My in-laws just got them put in at their house, but they're a little more on the expensive side. Is the problem? But that's what I would have to do up there. Like if I'm recording all the time, you know, and I'd have to insulate real good. So it's just I don't know. That would be a very expensive project that I don't know that I have the mental capacity to take on.
It's tough. I mean, I whenever I was moving to where I live now, and I was it was getting down to crunch time. Like I could not find anyone to move this building that is my studio, and it was getting scary because I had, I mean, not a lot, but a lot for me total. I easily had $5 or $6 grand in this building, including the building, but it was getting really scary getting it moved. Like I didn't think it was going to happen, and it finally happened. And now I've since put even more money into it, but it is a headache just trying to get. And I was determined. I can't record in my house. Like I have 2 young kids. My wife bakes. There's a mixer going all the time. She's a home baker, and that's her business, and it's growing every day. That mixer never stops. Like I had to be detached. I 100% had to be detached. It has been a pain, but it's really worked out for the
I
best.
get it. I mean, where I am, this room, the bathroom's right there. My daughter's room is right there. So it's hard. And there are times where we're about to start recording and she's getting ready to go to bed and she just barges up the stairs, Daddy, Daddy. I'm like, you didn't want to see me all night. And now that you know I need to do my thing, you want to, it's kids for you. No.
Yeah.
So,
well, and it's okay. I mean, to me, it's okay. It was always okay to me when I was doing a podcast that wasn't audio gear related. Like it wouldn't work, it wouldn't work in here, but definitely no more green screen attic episodes for me. No, there will be none of that. I did enjoy those a little bit, but there will be none of that. I don't have that space now. Like we moved to a bigger house with less rooms, so I don't have a place in the actual home where I can record comfortably at all. No, there's no second setup in there, nothing like that. So if I wanted to green screen it up, it would have to be done in here, and I will not be doing that.
do you still have the work set up? I remember you used to have something at work.
Right now I don't have an office. Like right now I'm in my CEO's office because my office is getting a complete makeover, and he has 2 offices, one in 2 locations. So currently no work set up either, and there probably won't be. Like I know that was kind of fun when I would do a random video from work, but I'm kind of getting to the point where like, yeah, I don't think I can do that anymore. Like it just doesn't feel quite correct. I'm getting a little snobby there, I guess. I like my setup here so much that I kind of hate doing anything anywhere else. And I think that's why, there won't be any car episodes or anything like that. Maybe that because 3 or 4 people said they miss it and want it back, and that would be easy for me to do, but it just seems so pointless, like even I know that there's nothing. I don't understand why anybody like that at all. I didn't even like it. I was like,
in the car with Bark, it was unique.
No, it was. I mean, it was different, but at the same time, it's like, what happens when my family finds me on the side of the road clinging to life, but there's a microphone hanging from my shit handle? Like, oh, this is why he's fucking dying because he was trying to record a podcast while he was driving.
It's easy. He died the way he lived.
He died the way he lived on a mic.
One mic at a time.
Absolutely. I'll do it for you, Bags. If you really want it done, I'll do it. But I don't understand it. I don't understand it. I don't understand why that was better than me just doing the same thing in my studio.
No, I remember you showing me a picture of the setup, and I was like, that is freaking cool. And it's, the ingenuity that you put in behind it was great. And
redneck ingenuity.
You do stuff that not a lot of other people would do, for sure.
That's true. That also comes with the not caring much, not caring too much about being super ultra professional. So Mike says we're all too old to do it in a car at this point. Been a while since I tried that. I'd say I'm also aged out on that.
Fun fact, I have never done that.
Really?
I've never had to. I've always had a place that I could go. So
well, that's good. Even when you were like a teenager, you didn't ever like.
My parents were like never home.
That works.
Or they, I could like sneak a girl into the basement when they were sleeping. So, I just didn't have to. It was pretty cool.
Many a knee burns from the floorboard, that's for sure. Young, when I was young. Not so
Yeah,
much
well,
now. Now it would be like, we gonna do it in the car later? Like, yeah, you got the Bengay? Yeah, you got the ibuprofen? Yeah, yeah. Got all that stuff.
man, the second you get a couple beers with my wife and put her in a car, she's over there like she's just she's out. Like I took her out. We went on a date because we still try to go on dates a lot. With you have to date your partner, is what she says, and she's
Yeah,
a therapist.
yeah.
I'll take your word for it, Jenna. And we went out. We had a great dinner, and she's teasing me
She
the
probably
whole
gets
day.
away with a lot of stuff as a therapist, telling you, like, no, trust me, this is good for our relationship.
Oh, for sure. Like, yeah, we should definitely go to Disney sometime. It's good for our kids. And I'm like, you want to go because of the kid.
All
But she was
therapists
talking
go to Disney.
because they're all lunatics. She's talking a big game all day and at dinner. And then she had a couple of drinks at dinner. And I'm talking to her on the way home and she's not responding. I look over and she's just head against the window asleep. I'm like, come on. that's married life for you, I guess,
Yeah, it happens. It happens for sure.
What are you going to do? I wouldn't trade it for anything in the world, honestly. I don't know what I would do if I was single right now.
Well, yeah, at our age, I guess I should say, which you're a few years younger than me, but what would I be doing? What would I be doing? There's always the roof during a rainstorm. We can wish. All of us romanticists can wish that we would do it on the roof in a rainstorm. What roof are we talking about? Because I'd die if I tried to do it on my roof.
Yeah, mine's very steep. The
Mine too.
pitch.
Yeah, no, not
How
gonna
old are
work.
you, Mark? I know you're slightly older than me.
I will be 43 in April.
I'll be 39 on Tuesday, so
Creator connection on that. No,
listen,
it's okay.
I
Once
went
you're late 30s, it's pretty much you're going in that direction anyways. So
we're all the same age. Once you hit 39, you're all the same age. But I went to buy a six-pack of beer for my wife like a month ago. And I said, "Do you want to see my ID?" And the girl that's checking me out goes, "No, I could see the gray in your beard." I'm like, "You know what,
I can't.
Brianna? Well, yeah, but it's a little darker in here. It's there. It's my hair's also
Okay,
very
maybe
light.
a little, maybe a little.
I'm like, you know what, Brianna, just ring me up and let me take my non-alcoholic beer home, okay? Just let me go home.
Now, see,
And
when I was 39, there was just a little bit here, and now that I'm over 40, it is all the way through. It is
it,
everywhere.
it's really on my neck, and when I don't shave, you could really see it. But it's not so much in here yet. And if my hair grows out a little bit, you could see it up there. But my hair is also lighter,
Mike
which
got
helps.
shut down. Not you, but
Uh,
Newman.
oh, don't get any ideas. All right, denied. It's a Sunday. Can't do that on a Sunday. Los Angeles rain isn't as brutal as Ohio rain. I don't know. Every year during the Fantasy Football Expo, it always rains.
Dude, it has rained here for like 5 straight days. It is getting depressing for sure. And Mike Newman, dude, I am so sorry. I hope to God you were as mad as me when they went for it on 4th and 2, because I said right then and there, this whole game's about to change. Ugh, Newman's a big Lions fan. I am sorry, dude. I wanted that win for all Lions fans everywhere. I'm not watching the Super Bowl unless my kid makes me because he's into it. But yeah, anyways,
I'll
I won't talk about that
watch a
anymore. I'm still
little
mad.
bit
It's
of
not
it.
even my team.
I won't stay up and watch the whole thing. Like I'll probably be up here doing scouting reports, and I'll have it on mute, and that's it.
Yeah.
I got other stuff to do.
It's hard to invest 3 hours into a game. That's tough. If it's not your team, especially, even if it's Super Bowl. And I don't give a shit about the commercials. So
They haven't
yeah,
been
I'm
good
sorry,
lately.
Newman.
You know what I noticed too with being a fantasy football analyst? People are like, what do you mean you don't watch every game? Like, when do I have time to watch every game? I don't. I
That's
barely
the
get
thing.
time
You
to watch.
gotta pick and choose.
I watch most of every primetime game because they're on, and I watched every Eagles game because they're my favorite team. And then I went to a game last year, and then somebody's like, "Did you see so and so?" It was a different game. Did you see so and so did this? No, I didn't see it because I was at the game today, so you don't see everything. Oh well, don't you pay attention to what goes on? I've just been in a stadium for 3 hours. and I'm trying to get back on the bus so I can catch up on things. No, I haven't seen it. So you mean you guys aren't
Yeah.
forced to go to someone's house and eat really bad food for 3 hours? Honestly, the last Super Bowl party that I did get invited to, the food was quite good.
And I don't get invited to things because I don't
Me
associate with humans unless it's on here. unless it's a comfortable virtual distance. Not to say that, I wouldn't hang out with Bauer right here and right now if he knocked on the door and said, "Hey, guess what? Somehow I made it from there to here." Like, no, there's plenty of people I would hang out with, but no, there's no Super Bowl parties in my future. None of that shit. Draft party. I attended Denny's draft party this past year, the Real and
Okay.
Raw Sports podcast. I went to that. That was a good time. There were some guys there that I hadn't seen for years, so that was good. But Super Bowl
Do they
parties, no.
do their podcast in your spot?
What is it?
What Denny was doing a podcast in your studio, wasn't he?
Yes,
Does
he
still
was.
do that?
Yeah. They got their own space now, especially where I
Okay.
moved, because now I'm like a half an hour away from him.
Okay.
So that's why you ignored my invite to come hang out. Got it. Yeah, no, I wouldn't do that either. I'd be on a plane right now, Andrew. Right now.
Andrew, nobody knows where you live.
Yeah.
And I'm not
yeah.
telling you to tell us. I'm just saying you're very mysterious in that regard, which I respect, by the way.
He might have cracked on a recent conversation. I might know, but I will never tell.
I do not need to know. I know that you live.
Czechoslovakia.
I know he lives in YouTube, and I know where to
Right.
find him. So.
Right. Mike says Sioux Falls, South Dakota is where it's at. I've been through the Dakotas once. Not too bad.
I'm not a very well-traveled man, Barker.
I'm not either. I went to Vegas, so I saw a lot of stuff on my way to Vegas. Like lived in Vegas.
That sounds great. I would
It
want
was.
to do that. I've been to Nashville. Was one of my favorite places that I've ever visited.
Been there, hated it.
I've been to Miami. I've been to St. Lucia.
Been there, been both of those places. Not too bad.
In April, I will be going to Connecticut for the first time. So
I love that. I don't plan on traveling. I was gonna go to NAB. Is it NAB or NAM? Whichever one's in Vegas. I was supposed to go this year and I totally bailed. Just can't find the time now. Or the funds.
Well, remember,
it cost nothing to go to Vegas. Now it's like, what? Anyways.
Bronson was talking about that in our chat. He's like, we should all go. And I got this new job. I don't have paid time off yet, so I can't.
That makes it kind of hard, yeah. I just can't, dude, I can't leave. Like, I've got a 7-year-old who's just going through a stage. Like, I can't leave him for 2 days or 3 days even.
Really?
So that makes it really tough. And it's not a bad stage. It's just it's a very clingy stage. He won't stay with my grandparents, so I can't get a night alone with my wife. Not that we need a night alone. We figure out when and how to do stuff, but like, he just doesn't want to stay anywhere. He's such a homebody. And like, if I leave him for 3 or 4 days and I know he's like crying like crazy for me to be home, like I can't deal with that. I can't live with that. That's too much guilt. But
I could leave right now for a week and my daughter would be like, will mommy be here? Oh yeah. Okay, bye, Daddy.
But that's my 10-year-old. My 10-year-old could care less if I was home or not, but my 7-year-old, completely different story. So
that's funny. I don't know. He'll grow out of that eventually.
maybe.
Hopefully.
We'll see. If not,
but look
screwed.
At you, the biggest homebody I know.
Oh, definitely. 100%. I don't need to go anywhere or do anything. I still have those buddies that are like, let's go out and get a beer. And I'm like, no. No. I don't want to go places. Like, home is awesome. I can go to Pennsylvania right now, and I am. I'm halfway in Pennsylvania right now by talking to Bauer here. It's just so much easier to be able to. It's like a phone call versus a text, Like, yeah. I hate when someone calls me on the phone. Like, dude, just text me, because if I get on the phone, it means there's the potential to get stuck and not have the comfort of being able to walk away when you want to. Walk away from a conversation. With texting, I can reply 30 minutes later. I could reply the next day. I could reply immediately. If I leave the house and go hang out with someone, I might get stuck. I might not be able to get home at the exact moment I want to go home. But if I'm already home and I just connect online, I could shut my computer down right now and be like, oh, Bauer, man, I lost internet connection. Shit. That
So
sucks.
I'm the same way. If I call you, it's either an emergency or I need to know something right this very second and it's very critical and I can't wait for a text back. And that's about it. Otherwise, my phone has been on silent since the day I got it.
Oh, my phone
That's
stays on silent. Now, my watch tells me what's going on, but I don't want to hear my phone ding.
my watch just tells time.
I should
That's
probably
all.
go with one of those, but yeah, my watch definitely stays on silent. It stays on silent. I'll be in Philly for a few days this summer. I'll wave as I fly over. Nice.
Don't get stabbed.
Yeah, not a very safe place.
Stay out of Kensington.
Well, Bauer, I don't want to keep you all night. I think we're what are we at? We're at an hour and 20.
This has been a lot of fun, though. I've been looking forward to
I
this.
love this. I love doing this. Like this is one of my favorite things. Which Newman, I need to, me and Mike Newman need to hang out and do that. Me and Joe from Red Cabin Acoustic. Me and Pags have already done it, but I totally do him again. He was just great. Yeah, I love doing this.
Acoustic on YouTube here. Well, I spelled
yeah.
red wrong.
Joe's a great guy. Joe's another fella that I think highly of, and which he lives in Ohio. He's up in the Cleveland area, but he came down to hang out with me one day, and that was just cool.
Oh yeah, Bandrew, he knows. Yeah, the Seiko Arnie, Predator is my favorite movie of all time. And when I saw
just watched that for the first time like a week ago.
My favorite movie of all time. So when I saw this watch, I was like, what is that?
Yeah.
I need that. So this isn't the original Arnie because they are very hard to find. They're very expensive. But this, when the new one came out, you bet your buttons, I pre-ordered it. It is my favorite watch of all time. I was worried that the 47 millimeter bezel was going to be little bit too big, but it turns out it's
Bandrew's stroking it hard right now. I guarantee it.
I'm a watch guy too. I love watches. And I did subscribe to Red Cabin Acoustic, so I will be watching your stuff too.
Doesn't make videos very often, but when he does, they're really good.
Yeah, I mean, he's got good views. Yeah, nice. Ooh, new studio sound treatment. That's a video I want to watch.
There you go.
It's a year old. I need to watch that one. Yeah, see, Banjo knows I Predator 3 times one night. It's a great movie.
It is great, but 3 times in one night? For what reason? You had to have been on acid. Had to have been some substance there. I did love the movie. Like, it was absolutely fantastic. And I also watched Rambo First Blood for the first time the other night. No, I had never seen that either. And that was like so much deeper than I thought it was going to be. I thought it was just going to be all cheesy action, but it had there's some good context in that one. Some really surprising stuff. I was like, huh. No, I forgot that they knew there were such a thing as, really corrupt, terrible cops back in the 80s. But,
always.
Yeah, but yeah, Predator was fantastic. I'm on that kick. I'm like trying to catch up on those movies that everyone knows about that I may have missed. I'd say the only movie I've watched more than once in a day is Pulp Fiction, and my personal favorite action movie of all time, which is oh shit. Really? I say my favorite and I completely forgot. Jean-Claude Van Damme, Blood. Really?
Bloodsport.
Bloodsport, thank you.
Freaking
wow. That's how much movie. I love it. I can't remember the name. Love that movie.
I'll tell you what movie I watched recently 3 times in one day. It's on Disney Plus. It's called Turning Red.
Oh. What's it called?
Turning Red. My daughter just
I like that movie.
Yeah, I do too, but I don't want to watch it over and over and over again.
No, it's fine. My kid's making me do that on Teenage Kraken right now. He's watching that over and over and over.
I say to her, I'm like, hey, honey, we have 1,000 other things we could watch that are also already paid for by your parents. So literally anything else. Or maybe I could watch the TV for a little bit at some point. No, Daddy, maybe. You can watch TV when I go to bed.
Yeah,
got it.
That's how that goes. Predator 2, that's on my list next. So is Rambo 2 is also on my list to knock out here pretty soon. Shawshank Redemption, that's the next one. Haven't seen it. Not kidding. I know it's considered like one of the best movies of all time. I'm telling you, man, I was so tunnel visioned on the kind of movies that I watched that I overlooked a lot.
First name here, Jeremy Barker, WTF. By the way, this year when I went to the expo, I went to the the prison where they shot the Shawshank Redemption at. It's about an hour away from Canton.
Yep.
And I did the tour, and freaking, I got some great pictures there. It was really cool.
Bags is like, what?
Yeah, exactly. What is that? Dude,
Dude,
you
it's
know
like
what?
3 hours, man. If it's not Tarantino, and I can't handle 3 hours.
I know, but when you watch it, you most likely, and I can't predict what you're going to say, but you most likely say, "Why did I wait so long to watch this movie?"
Now, see,
Some people say it's one of the
sometimes
greatest.
that doesn't work out, and I'm going to piss some people off here. Like, I had never seen Tommy Boy, and when my wife made me watch Tommy Boy, and at the end she just looked at me smiling, she's like, "What did you think?" I was like, "I fucking hated it. I absolutely fucking hate that movie. I think it's stupid. I think it's not funny. I thought it was terrible. Come at me, bros. Come at me, all of you. Tommy Boy, pure garbage." Huh?
Emmy is about to have a stroke right now.
Yeah, Tommy Boy was trash. Didn't enjoy that at all.
What about Wayne's World? Have you seen Wayne's World?
Love Wayne's World, yeah.
Okay. All right. So we're good.
And I know they're in the same kind of category. Chris Farley generally annoys me. I can't help it. He just annoys me.
You know what? That's okay. He's not for everybody. I mean,
No, you can't compare Tommy Boy and Shawshank, but still, that was a movie like my wife was like, "Oh, you're gonna love it," and everybody loves it, and everybody just let it. And I watched it. She was so upset. I was like, I fucking hated it. Hated every minute of it. She was truly upset.
I know if my wife likes a movie, I pick out or not. If
Mike went to high school with Chris Farley. Sorry, go ahead.
Really, that's
cool. I didn't hate him. He just annoyed me in movies.
How fast does she fall asleep when I put the movie on?
Huh?
It depends. I know how much she likes a movie I pick out. How fast does she fall asleep?
Oh, I got you.
Yeah. Because she cannot watch an entire movie anymore.
It can be difficult. Can definitely be difficult.
She's an early riser, early to bed girl. You know what I mean? Like if it was up to her, she's in bed every night at 8 and up every morning at 4:30.
Yeah. Wow, 4:30. Ugh.
It's just what she likes.
Yeah, I can't go to bed before 11 for any reason, and that's it's just tough. And I still get up at whatever 6:30. If I got up at 4, I'd be fine. I'd still go to bed at 11. My sister said he was a real asshole. Maybe that's it. Maybe I could tell that Chris Farley's an asshole, and through watching that movie, I was like, no, that guy's an asshole. I don't like that movie. Mulholland Drive's another one. Like that's on all these top movie lists. I couldn't even make it through Mulholland Drive. That I hated every second of that too.
I don't think I've seen that one actually.
Neil. I don't get that excited, but when Neil comes by, Neil's here. What's up, Neil? Buddy? Neil's a back row fantasy. I can't talk tonight. One beer, and I'm all like, or the hunt for Red October. Neil's an OG, podcast OG. Neil, love you, dude. He's here for a good time. I was just talking shit about some movies. Neil probably would have been upset. Neil, do you like Tommy Boy? Just out of curiosity. My wife watched Godzilla movie with me when we started dating. Keep her right there. If you make it out this way, we can see Bark and go to the prison. Yeah, I need to go up that way. And Pags needs to come over that way.
If you do it in August, I'll be up in the Canton area for the expo. We could all meet up if you're interested.
There's some David Lynch that I like, though, I believe. I think I like everything else. I think Lost Highway was fine, and there was what's his biggest movie? I'm trying to think, but yeah, Mulholland Drive I just couldn't get into. Oh, take a day off work and go. Oh, you hate Tommy Boy too, Neil? See, that's why I love Neil. Neil's a hater. Neil loves to hate stuff, so that makes me happy.
My favorite is Angry Neil.
Oh, Angry Neil's the best. There's nothing better than Angry Neil. No. I will never ever forget. I can't tell you how many. Yes, Mulholland Drive does suck. I cannot tell you how many times I listened to the episode of the Back Row Talk Show, which is a spinoff of the Back Row Fantasy Show, where he talked about ICP fans being trash bags. He's like, you'll never see a doctor, a lawyer with a Hatchet Man tattoo. And I laughed so hard every single time I listened to that clip of him talking about ICP fans, even though he was one at one time. So good.
Oh, man.
That was fun.
Neil's great, man.
You
He
were
was
on the
awesome.
were you on that episode? You were on one of the Back Row Talk shows because you came when I fired that up and started doing it. Like
Yeah,
we did a Back Row Fantasy show and we did a Back Row Talk show with you when you came down.
yeah, that's right. I don't remember what we talked about, but we just like rolled after the fact and had a good time. And that was a lot of fun.
Yeah, it was.
That was your
Good group.
original studio,
Yeah. Yep.
which that was a cool spot.
It was. Yeah, I enjoyed that too. That was a guest house converted into a studio. Not exactly treated as well as this one, but it was bigger, more open, full size fridge, stove, recording setup. Good times. Built my own
Yeah.
recording booth out of some old pallets and moving blankets and foam and cut some sounders in there for fantasy football podcasts. Displaying my vocal talent for Renshaw's Renegades. Can't remember what fantasy football podcast that was, but it's Renshaw. I can't remember what he's called on Twitter, but I did some 80s hair metal vocals and they turned out really fucking good.
Yeah, I think I'm in a league with Renshaw,
Yeah,
actually.
I love doing that sounder.
I think I am. I don't know. I'm in.
Prey. See, I want to watch Prey, which is why I started Predator because I think Prey looked good, so I want to get there too.
Oh, the Predator movie that had Olivia Munn in it. That one was much maligned. Loved it. Thought it was great.
Alien movies is something I need to watch too. I've never seen any of the Alien movies.
There's one called crap. What I think it's
Talking
by
about
John Foster. I think it's The Thing. It has Kurt Russell in it. Bandrew and Bronson would probably know. I believe it's called The Thing. I remember I watched that movie when I was 6. Probably way too young. It was a VHS movie that my dad recorded off TV because people used to do that. So we had to
oh yeah,
fast forward commercials. And I just remember being legitimately scared out of my mind. You know, the people's like the alien thing coming out of people's stomachs.
what
Just
now,
cool.
Pags? What are you? Oh my god, now? I
See,
want to record some stuff on VHS. I'm dying to do that.
the
What?
X-rated version.
I don't know if this is real or not. Is Angela Lansbury really in a porn? Go inside right now and watch Alien and Aliens Now. I want to. It's just hard to find the time to watch movies. Neil
See,
says The Thing is top 4 all time. John Carpenter's The Thing is one of the best. See,
I need to
I'm just
rewatch that
sheltered.
because I was very young when I watched it. Probably shouldn't have been watching that movie when I was so young, but my mom went out with my aunt, and you know, when you're left with just your father as a young child, he's like, "Hey, mom's not home, so we're just gonna do whatever," and that's what we did. Alien vs Predator, I liked. I know it was kind of hokey, people would say, but you're right. It is a fun movie, and it's okay to just look. Bronson just watched The Thing last week, so
But for the
it's
first time, or I assume not. You guys are all bigger movie buffs than me. And I love movies. I just, yeah, just a hard thing to find time for, I guess.
yeah. I don't know. Bronson's way more into the horror stuff than I am.
Yeah, I'm a pussy. I can't watch horror movies. Like, it's not that I don't enjoy being scared. And I hate jump scares. Like, that's just, I love
Yeah,
creepy stuff. Like, whatever horror movie that was with Jeffrey Dean Morgan. Can't remember which one that was. It was one of the, I feel like it was one of the Hauntings or horror movie. I love Jeffrey Dean Morgan too, for whatever reason. What is that movie?
you know, I love the old cheesy horror movies. Like,
The
did you ever see
Possession,
any of
maybe.
the Puppet Master movies?
No.
It's like they're kind of funny, but they're scary, but they're not. You know what I mean? Like, it's just I don't know. I remember watching them with my friends. We'd be drunk and we're watching them and just kind of laughing, having a good time. And it's like, why don't you just kick the little puppet across the room? And like, why are you letting this thing maul you right now? It's the size of a lawn gnome.
Yeah, Chucky wasn't that formidable either. I mean, I could have kicked Chucky's ass, I think. Knife or no knife, I think I could have taken him.
You can't tell me that you can't kill this thing. They killed the Terminator, right?
Yeah,
They
which is
crushed it,
which is completely unrealistic. Like, you're not going
and
to kill
then
the Terminator.
in the second Terminator, you melted the T-1000.
Here's a hot take. And Bauer, when you want to go, you just let me know. Now that we're we're diving down this path, I'll just go until you're done.
Okay.
I loved Terminator Salvation with what's his name from Psycho, and yeah, nobody liked it. You
Did I
remember
see
that
that?
one?
I think
I
I
actually
saw
really like that one.
Terminator Salvation. I think I've
Christian
seen
Bale.
all of
Yeah, Christian Bale. God, names are hard tonight. The Conjuring. I enjoyed
Oh,
The Conjuring.
yeah, I did see that one. I didn't see the newest one. I think it was Terminator Genesis was the
Genesis. I
newest
haven't
one.
seen that either.
No, because they were supposed to that was supposed to be at our local movie theater, and then I went to go see it with my wife because, she's like, "Fine, I'll go see this dumb movie with you." And then they just like, "Oh yeah, nobody wanted to see it, so we took it out." I'm like, "Well, then take the freaking sign down, AMC."
Oh, this comment, that's great. Uh, Chucky stopped being scary for me when I caught it on Telemundo, dubbed in Spanish. They gave Chucky a deep television with. It is time to die. Oh shit.
Mike Newman knows what's up. Oh, the old
Oh,
school easy horror like that, but it's kind of fun though, right? Like the one puppet had like the little drill on its head. I remember that guy, and I'm like, what are we doing here with this little guy? What?
ooh, can't do the Saw films.
No, I don't like. I like the one that really creeped me out, and it's not a song. Hostel. You see Hostel?
I saw Hostel. I did see
Yeah.
Hostel.
Was
Didn't it was okay. It didn't like super creep me out. I can handle some stuff, but some stuff I just can't. Um, Hostel was okay.
I like more of the horror that makes you think a little bit
Yes, yeah. I
more
like
psychological.
creepy or occult or demonic. I like that stuff a lot. I don't love just slasher films. I guess like every once in a while they're good, depending. But Pag said Hostel messed me up. See what's wrong with me? I can't handle jump scares, but Hostel was fine for me.
And you know what? The original Saw was good, but then after that, they just what. And there was a movie too, like with a clown. What was that called? Terrifier or something like that.
Yeah,
It
that's
was
the new
really bad.
hotness for the horror folks is Terrifier. And
I
I
heard you.
really want to watch that just because I'd like to see if I puke, but I don't know. I don't know if I'd make it more than 5 or 10 minutes in because um, realistic effects, not computer shit. I can't. Practical effects. That yeah, I can't handle that. Like if it looks real and it looks, I'm sure there's like close-ups of like bones snapping, flesh ripping. I got a pretty strong stomach, but I don't know if that's something that I would just enjoy. Yeah, I think The Shining will be good. And
I think
yes,
he's
to
got a
anybody who
really good.
didn't hear me, I have not seen The Shining. Fucking come at me, everybody. Art the
You know
Clown
what?
is a lovely dude. He
Is that
looks
the guy
so
from
much fun.
Terrifier?
Yeah.
Is that yeah?
The
Okay. I don't think
trailers, like, I think I would love the movies if I could handle them. And I don't know if I can or not. Because, again, vagina over here.
if I could watch it when it's daytime out and all the lights are on. you know,
See, I don't even think I could handle it then. Like, because if it's like gruesome, I'll give up. I'll be like, no. Train to oh, what's that, Marty? Train to Busan, a great zombie movie. I don't know that one. I did watch Midnight Meat Train, if that counts as a horror movie.
what the heck is that?
It's got Bradley Cooper in it. It's got the dude from shit. What's the British Richie movie with Brad Pitt and God? What's
Oh,
that big?
Snatch.
Huh?
Snatch.
Yeah, Snatch. It's got the big bald scary dude from Snatch in it too.
Oh, Vic something.
Yeah. You're on the right path.
Vinny Jones.
Vinny Jones. Yeah. He's in Midnight Meat Train, I believe, and that was pretty solid movie actually.
Snatch is one of my favorite movies. Actually,
It's one of my
I
favorite
love.
things. I don't know about movies. Yeah,
That's good too.
that's good. Yeah, it's good.
Yes, it was great. For everybody that doesn't know or didn't know who I am, it was great meeting all you guys tonight. Talking to some people. It's great, Andrew. Good seeing you. I don't really get to chat with Andrew very often.
Hey, if you're leaving, anybody wants to keep talking about movies, I'll send an invite. We'll
Yeah,
shoot
I'm
it
gonna
over.
go. It's almost 11, and I was sick for 2 weeks,
Uh,
so
was it the
I
vid?
No, it was I was just sick, and then I was like, I'm gonna just get better on my own and not go to the doctor. And then I started to get better, and then I got worse. So
Yeah.
I haven't worked out in 2 weeks, so I need to get up and work out tomorrow and
Oh
get
fuck
back
that.
on.
That's a lifestyle. I can't handle that either. That's like a horror movie
I
to me.
I need
Working
to.
out.
I need to, man. It's but it's been really fun, and thank you for everybody for being really nice to me. And yeah, thank you for having me, Barker, and thank you for all the great
Yeah.
advice
Oh,
you've given me over the years.
always
Uh,
welcome.
Still give me, and also Bronson, thank you for the awesome camera advice that you gave me. I can't wait to fire this bad boy up, snap some
You
pictures.
haven't needed any advice for a while, Bauer. I don't even think
You,
we talked audio gear. We've just talked, generalities. But
yeah, I feel like my setup's been good. I
yeah,
haven't had issues, and
if it's not broke, don't fix it.
no, $36 microphone. What do I need any more than that?
Yeah. And surprisingly, even though you said you have the voice of Bronson over there, that annoying fucker, um, your voice sounds good on it. Even though it's not super low indie, it works. It does work.
Works good. So thank you, everybody. I'm not going to tell you to subscribe to my channel because if you're not into fantasy football, you don't have to subscribe to it. So
You could do it anyways, just to and then just sit. Don't recommend these videos to me if you don't want to watch them.
what you could do is
Be that
we're
person.
going. We are going live next Sunday, probably around 10 a.m. Eastern, the day after the Senior Bowl. You could just stop by the channel, say hi, and you could ask questions about anything. It doesn't have to be fantasy football related. You can ask me what my favorite book is. By the way,
I read
have
them
you?
books.
I love to read. It's actually my favorite hobby because I didn't have friends when I was a kid. If you guys have heard of a show on Netflix called Fool Me Once, it is a great like 8-part series. It's an adaptation of an author named Harlan Coben. Just heard about the guy because of this series. I started reading his books. Holy crap! If you guys like to read, check out Harlan Coben. If
My
you
wife
have
hates Harlan Coben.
really, I think his
Yeah.
stuff is great.
She liked the first book or two that she read, and then I don't know how many books you've read, but then she started saying
So
they're all the same. Like he does not deviate from the beaten path, basically, is what she said.
I am starting to notice that a little bit. It's like I can kind of start to see some patterns, but the writing is very good and I enjoy it.
Yeah. Not to poo poo on it, you said Harlan Coben, and I was like, oh, I know this one. I know this guy. Because my wife is a massive reader. Like, she reads everything. She picked up Britney Spears' The Woman in Me, which I'm interested in too, because it's her life story. Read that thing in she had it finished like in hours. And I was like, how the hell did you do that? Like, I can read pretty quick too, but how do you get so focused that you just knock them out? I've been reading the same Star Wars book for like a year, and I'm not even halfway through it.
So before I go, I've always loved to read. Like I said, I had no friends when I was a kid because we lived in the middle of nowhere. There was no kids my age around me, and you couldn't walk anywhere. There was no sidewalks. There was no street lights. There was no street anything.
Yeah, and your
Um,
third nipple didn't help either.
yeah, I know that's the thing. I
Yeah,
couldn't take my foot off. Still can't.
right.
But so I had to do a book report in history class. I read The Rise and Fall of the Third Reich in 2 weeks, which, by the way, was a massive undertaking, but it had to be historical. And I got an F because of the context of my book report and what it was about. And I said, this is a history class. I wrote it about a historical thing. I read this massive book, like 1,000 pages in 2 weeks. And I wrote a very good report about it. And I got an F.
Nice job. I was going to say nice job. You're like, and I got an F. That sucks. Don't know why, but I've been reading
So
Return of the King for months. Ooh, did they make a movie off that? Is that the fucking Jason Statham movie? God, I tried to watch that and I was like, this is so bad. Maybe it's not. Maybe it's something else, but I think
I
it
think
was called Return of the King.
you need to get Ask Mr. Science on here. 2 girls, 1 cup in 3D.
I threw that up there. That's that's right up there with cake farts in my book. What do I like the most? Cake farts.
Do like cake. So
Yeah. Well,
all right, I'm
you
going to
might
head
like
out.
cake
Thank you
farts.
again for having me. This has been fun. Everybody that I've talked to for the first time tonight has been great meeting you all. And for those that I've talked to before, I hope to talk to you all again soon.
yeah, thanks for everybody watching and sticking this out with us till 11 p.m. Eastern time. Hopefully, most of you are on the West Coast. I know Bronson's, it's just now like 9 o'clock for him. So, but yeah, thanks for everybody sticking it out. Bauer, thanks for dropping by. At some point, this Creator Connection is probably going to circle back around to the same people. So maybe we'll do it again. Maybe, who knows? We'll do something. And yeah, have a good night. Thank you. And I hope you had fun.
That's not your thing, is it?
It's not. See you
I was
guys.
going to say